Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint some asparagus. It's part of a new series. We're going to do some fruits and vegetables all summer long. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I don't know, but we'll be showing you asparagus tonight to kick it off. All right, I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's in a chat tonight, so if you've got questions, you can just ask those down in chat and we'll try to answer. Let's get started. Alrighty, welcome everybody. Hope you had a good week. We had a week off. We were on vacation, so we're back. Glad to be with you. I'm using an 8 by 16 inch canvas tonight. Just a long canvas. Really, you could do any size you wanted to, but I think this one will be good. And I'm expecting to, like, you know, if I do an onion or something, to probably use a smaller canvas. So I think this will end up being kind of like a gallery wall type of situation where we'll like mix and match sizes of these fruits and vegetables and end up with some kind of hopefully a pleasing arrangement at the end of it. You could leave your background white if you wanted to, if you prefer that look, or like an off-white or a gray or whatever color that you want for your background. I don't think it's going to matter, but I'm using black. This is just carbon black on mine tonight to start. I like that kind of contrast, that really, like, I don't know. And I might change up the colors, who knows. This is endlessly variable, so I think it's hopefully going to be a fun series. And fruits and vegetables are really easy to paint for beginners. They're very, like, what is the word? Forgiving. Forgiving. Easy to manipulate and adjust, and yeah, so I think that this will be hopefully a fun series for you guys too. All right, so as far as brushes go, you're going to want to pick a brush for this asparagus especially that is just like the width of whatever size asparagus stalk you want. So I think I'm going to use the 4 flat and maybe a 2 flat in the Princeton 6100 series. I've also got a couple of their rounds in the Aspen series, the 2 and a 4 in the Aspen for some of the dry brushing and shading maybe. Oh, that was for the background. So just, you know, paint your background with whatever large brush you've got. And then I've also got a small number 1 round for some other details. So I don't think I'm going to need this one that I have to the side. All right, let's go over our colors really quick. Carbon black, burnt umber, quinacridone magenta. No, that's one burnt sienna. Let's start over. Carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, India yellow. That one's quinacridone magenta. They look like the same color on the monitor. Ultramarine blue, phthalo green yellow shade, cobalt, or nope. And then what is that? Unbleached titanium white, glass glazing liquid. I'm already in fully right brain mode here and cannot come up with my words. All right, it's going to be an interesting night. I have not painted this ahead, so we'll just see how it goes.
And I have not painted it ahead either.
Good
so it's first time for both of us.
Good. Check. All right. So I'm going to come up maybe 1.5 inches or so, and the bottom of these are kind of rounded. I'm not going to go exactly by the picture. I'm just kind of using it as a reference. We all kind of have a general idea of what asparagus, you know, look like. I actually forgot to put out my other references that I had. I had some other references that I wanted to use that had like a little bit more purple in them, you know, like the younger shoots have a little bit more purple. So I think I'm going to mix and match some of the colors. So we'll just kind of cinch it up a little bit here, just going for my overall shape. And I'm just using regular school chalk. This had Hagoromo. Actually, it's not regular. It's like the fancy Hagoromo, but you can use regular. I like it because it's like dustless. It literally, it does make kind of a difference. I really like it. And again, at the top, kind of do a little bit of a, maybe a shape. Maybe one's kind of coming off at an angle here or something like that. Something around that. And then when we paint them in, I'm just going to kind of paint them in sort of one by one and stack them next to each other. You could block in this whole shape green, and then, you know, like if you have an exact shape for each one of these mapped out, like you could draw them in all real carefully and then just paint this whole section in with your green. But I think I'm going to just kind of use, you know, I want some of them kind of tucked up underneath other ones. Just sort of use the shape to do something like that, and then we'll have a tie coming across right about here, right? I painted this. I should have you go grab that one in the other room there, maybe. Okay. The old one that I did a long time ago.
So at the beginning you said that you hadn't painted this already. And
Well,
you already have.
It's been years. That's true. That was a lie.
Years.
I have painted it.
Where,
you caught me out.
Where in the other
It
room
should
is
be out. It should be out on the floor.
On the floor?
In the room where the paintings are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha.
We literally have to have a room for our not kidding, we have hundreds. It's the guest room / painting storage room. We are going to have a sale though, so if you've been interested, if anybody's interested in buying one of the paintings from my tutorials, I will be having a sale. First one in at least 2 years. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while. All right, so I'm getting the phthalo green here. I'm going to mix up a lot of this actually, because I'm going to need a lot of it. And use the burnt umber. I might use a little bit of the burnt sienna too. I want it to be kind of a olive tone. Okay, thank you. So this one's a lot bigger, but that was and it was on brown. So that's a look we're going for. Kind of soft, fuzzy, and yeah, it'll be fun. We had that. We need to hang those back up in our kitchen. We just don't have a lot of. We don't have a lot of room.
You got too many choices.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I think that's good. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of the magenta because that'll kind of make it kind of purple and, well, you know, not purple, but you know what I mean. It kind of tones it a little bit differently. All right, so I added burnt sienna, just a little bit of burnt sienna, burnt umber, and phthalo green for this dark green color. And really, probably, I'm going to scoop it up and try to keep it all in a smaller area. So the more you spread it out, the faster it'll dry out. So I'm just going to kind of smush it off. There. And let's use this color to just kind of map out where we want our main stalks to be. So I'm just going to have one go right up the middle. And maybe there's a couple that are peeking out behind there and there. Not going to see this much right at first, but I promise it'll start showing up once we get more of these painted in. I'm just going to kind of try to figure out, maybe one's down there, one's off to the side. They are a little bit, you know, wobbly. If you've ever cooked with them, you know, they do flex a little bit, so we don't have to do them perfectly straight. And sometimes the tops of them curve too, so we can have some of that. Okay, so I'll go ahead and kind of fill that area in there. I really need to lighten this up so you can see what, if there's anything happening here. Let me do that. Get some unbleached titanium, some of that phthalo green, and some yellow India yellow. So now that I kind of know where some of these are, I'll go ahead and start painting in. And the nice thing about working on the dark canvas is that you can kind of let the darkness play into it. It feels a little moodier, you know, like, and if any of that background kind of peeks through, I'm letting it kind of skim a little bit, so it's sort of almost dry brushing. It's not quite fully dry brushing because it is covering mostly, but there's little bits of that background kind of peeking through, which makes it really, really nice. And I'm leaving a little space between these two, trying not to cover up all my dark in this first pass. Okay, that looks good. I don't want to do too much at the tops of these yet. Maybe there's one right there. Maybe this one is in front. Right here, let me get that dark and put it back over that one. So it's going to be a matter of like defining and refining as we figure out where these are living. So maybe this one is going to go in with a little bit brighter color so that that one is coming in front of this one right here. And then we'll put one next to it that kind of comes in and out. Okay, these are kind of skinny. I might make them a little bit, or at least like one or two of them a little bit bigger. Maybe that one's larger. And again, I don't want to do too much with the top of it yet because I want to be able to highlight and do all that little fun stuff that's at the top of these. This one's going to be pretty short, I think, because these come together faster than you think. I think that's one of the reasons why I really like painting vegetables in general. They just really... I did a whole series several years ago when I first was doing gallery work, and they sold really well, the little vegetables paintings. I only had a couple left. I did a lot of like red peppers and onions and, you know, pears, and I just, not, you know, obviously pear's not a vegetable, but you get the idea. You mean food in general, fruits and vegetables. Just fun. And I was kind of new to painting on canvas, so I had gone from painting on wood. I did like decorative painting for several years, and so it was my first kind of foray into working on canvas, and these were, you know, this is kind of how I developed my style, is doing these vegetables and figuring out how to get the textures and the shading and all of that I wanted. So it's definitely, you know, I was beginner-ish when I did it. I had been painting, you know, on different painting for about 12 years or so at the time when I started doing canvas work. So, you know, I wasn't completely new to painting, but it was definitely different than working on wood, for sure. So, all right, I think that might be the width I want to do. And I might do one more, just kind of like in the picture, that kind of comes in behind and sort of skirts. Just barely suggested there. We'll see. Comes out maybe like that. Okay. This one is right there. Okay, and then we get that dark and maybe put a couple more like coming up behind that we don't see the stalk. So maybe there's one there and one over here. This one we can bring up a little bit. So just kind of mark out where these are ending. That one's there, that one's there, there's one here. All right, that looks pretty good. Clean that out really good. I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller round. This is a 4 round. This will give me a little bit more control over where the colors are going. It's also like a stiffer bristle brush, so it'll give me a little bit more texture and things. So I'm going to get the burnt umber and black. I'm going to spray my paints, especially the green there that's right here, because I don't want that to completely dry on me right away. And get some of the green. So creating just a really dark, this is almost black. And I'm going to come up here and just kind of put back in some of the lines between some of these. Anywhere where you can't really tell which one's which, you know, so just kind of clean up those edges a little bit. Darken up some of the ones that are sort of supposed to be in the background. Anywhere where like 2 are meeting here and you've got a third one in between, we want that to go really dark where they meet and where this one is tucking in. There's another one tucked in right there and here. And then maybe this one is a little bit more better defined right there. The line between those two, and then darker shading on this one that's kind of behind. Okay. Alright, let's make some brighter yellowish green. So I'm going to get the India yellow and mix a little bit of that previous green with it. But I'm also going to mix in some of that brownish color, the brown black with that. It's going to make like a green gold type of color. Add a little bit more of that green. There we go. So this is kind of more of an olive tone color now, and I'm going to get some yellow and some of the unbleached titanium here. Okay, how's everybody doing today in chat?
They're doing great.
Is Michael there?
No. He is not here tonight right now.
Okay. Got some stuff from
I know.
Hawaii.
We got some good
Zone
treats.
7, Zone 11.
Zone 11, baby.
Great.
I know. It's a good surprise.
The tea looks amazing, so thank you, Michael. We'll send him a note.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Very thoughtful.
I know, super sweet. All right, I'm gonna kind of clean up the bottom here and do a little bit of this lighter color. So I've got a little bit of unbleached titanium and mixed it in with this color that I was using into this green here. And I'm just going to kind of come up from the bottom here with that and just kind of clean up each of these individual ones here, give them a little bit more detail where they And
We have a special request.
okay.
They would like you to do a portion of the show with a British accent. To prepare for the trip.
I cannot do a British accent. I've tried.
We will probably be very offensive.
With as many of those shows that I've watched, you would think that I could, but I've tried it. It's not good. I can do a southern accent, but that's only because we've lived here for like 30 years. I'm not a good accent person. I don't. Maybe I'll come back though. You'll have to see if I come back speaking it. And that was we went to church with a couple, and their son went away to England for like a month, and he came back with an English accent. It was really funny. He was a teenager, you know. I remember that. Maybe we'll come back with accents. No, we're going to spend 3 weeks in England and France in September. So we're going to do some different kind of on-the-road type of videos, more like travel vlogging in a way. And I'll be painting with watercolors and hopefully gouache. We'll see if I can fit it into my carry-on. I'm going to try to eliminate most of the liquids in my carry-on and just carry gouache paint. So, who needs toothpaste, right?
Exactly. Overrated.
We'll see.
Could use it to brush your teeth and do splatters.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be super fun. Super fun. And I found out that the Jane Austen Festival is going on in Bath while we're going to be there. Yeah. That was not planned on the original itinerary, but it just so happened that we were actually going to be there the day before, and so we're like, well, we're going to spend another day. And I really wanted to get a costume, but Mark was like, no, you're going to have to pack carry-on only for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
we're not going to be able to fit a Jane Austen Regency dress in it. All right, adding the Unbleached Titanium here, just so like you can see I've kind of just started progressing to lighter and lighter as I'm working my way through here, and just kind of figuring out which of these is going to be the lightest. In the picture, that looks like the light is kind of coming from the top down, but you could put it from the side. I can't see if I didn't really have much of a light source on this one either. Maybe, yeah, I kind of just did top down. I did it very dry brush, so you can see how fuzzy I left those edges to make them look soft. They're almost like oil paint in that way. Like, this is all acrylics, obviously, but I was really just experimenting with my style. And when you paint something like this that is a little bit more forgiving, as far as like, you know, you can just make up you don't have to have an exact drawing. You can make it up. As long as you get the basic shape right, everybody's going to know this is asparagus, you know, and you're going to probably end up with a painting that's roughly resembles asparagus, as long as you do these straight lines and have the little bits that we'll add at the end to kind of, you know, mark the tops and things. But so this kind of painting, when you're not having to worry about like the drawing part of it, is great for like experimenting with your own personal style and see if you like to use a little bit thicker paint, or if you want to, you know, glaze it, or, you know, just try different techniques with it and see what everybody's style is going to be naturally a little bit different. You know, we all have different handwriting styles, and we all have different ways of holding the brush and loading the brush. And sometimes people, I found it was very interesting to me when I would teach classes in person, because you'd have people who were, you know, a little bit timid, and wanting to be, you know, a little bit more perfectionist personalities tended to load their brush very gently and lightly and go easy, and like, you know, I would have to, like, you know, tell them to add more paint or water or whatever it was more frequently, you know. And then people who were a little bit more sassy and bold would just get in there and just dip that paint in the just like a little bit more impatient and not really waiting to load the brush properly and, you know, jumping in there. So I say embrace your style. You don't have to learn to paint like me. Like, this is one way of doing it, but I'm trying to show you techniques that you can use and adapt and use in your own way. And so a project like this just makes it a little bit easier for you to do that and to like practice and perfect your own style, I think. I highly recommend it. So, all right, just using a little bit. I want to use different kind of greens. I don't want it to be all exactly the same. So I'm kind of, you know, I mean, I don't want them to be super different, but, you know, they can be kind of, give it a little variety here. A little bit more yellow in some, a little bit more of the unbleached titanium in others. And just kind of going through here. You can see how dark these, you know, it looked really light when we added it first, but they do tend to dry darker acrylics, so we can go back in and add highlights to these. A couple times, you know, like the first time around may not be light enough once it dries. Getting some of that green gold type of color there. Don't be afraid of contrast. I think that's one of the things that beginner artists tend to forget, is they kind of will go either too light or too dark and not have a lot of dynamic range of color. You want all the light and all the dark. You know, especially in something like this where you've got such a dramatic dark background, you want to be sure you've got some really light areas too to make it pop, and not just all dark colors. So kind of go. All right, we're getting there. Getting there. As you can see, we're just kind of slowly building up those colors, but we're not losing the darkest areas either. So if you get to the end and you've lost all your dark areas, we can glaze it. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just mostly worried about like getting the shapes right at this point and trying to start to build up the values in, like, you know, some light and dark areas. But I'd rather go too light than not dark enough, because if you go, you can always glaze back in your dark areas. You can't necessarily glaze white. It doesn't work as well.
So somebody would be done right now if they were painting green beans.
Or you could do green onions.
Oh, yeah, green onions.
And like do
yeah.
a little white bit and the little hairs
Yeah,
down.
so you could diverge in all different directions.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, these definitely do look a little bit like green beans, don't they? All right, so let's start to add some other colors. So we got kind of just a good start here on our basic shapes and everything. I'm going to use the #1 round here to do my little shapes on the top of the heads. And they have a lot of kind of pinkish tones in there. and some purple even in some of the pictures I'm seeing. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my magenta and some burnt sienna. The burnt sienna will make it a little bit closer to like a orangey tone. And then I want to add a little bit of the blue to make it a little bit more purple. There we go. And the burnt sienna just kind of tones it down so that this isn't like a bright in your face purple. Is everything okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just looking for the insulated bag to put your dinner in.
Oh, okay. And then I'm going to add burnt umber and purple and ultramarine blue and whatever was left in my brush here. So I didn't clean out my brush, so it made it purple. Or you can add a little bit of magenta to it if it's not purple enough. All right, so let's kind of start with that color, and we'll start to mark in our tips of the... I want maybe a little bit of white here so I can see these. I'm just going to kind of create these little overlapping shapes. Let me get some green also. And spray my greens down so they don't dry on me. Oh, those dried. Okay. Make some more. I had a little bit of green in my brush. And I've got some of this purple color that I made. And get some, well, let's get some white. I haven't used the white yet. Okay. I brought that one down a little far. Well, no, some of them come down pretty far, I guess. All right, so that looks good. And then we get some more of that yellow. And let me just use this yellow and a little bit of white. I have not cleaned out my brush, so it still has this purple and all this stuff. It's really toning down this yellow quite a bit. And I'm going to just kind of mark out some of these little spots that are on the asparagus, so they kind of come like that. As I go down. Okay. And they're kind of a triangle shape, so I'm just kind of flattening out my brush and skimming it upward. And if it doesn't show up, that's fine. We'll make it, add some detail to it later, but I just want to add a little bit of these indications of these markings so we can start adding them in later. I want to do it a little bit more assembly line style so we're not skipping around colors so much. It kind of gets confusing, I know, when we're skipping to this color and then going back to that color. So I'm just going to try to do all of these with the same color, and then we'll adjust as we need to. Can keep it pretty loosely painted. Maybe some of them are kind of right up the middle. Doing all of them on the sides, but some of them will be facing us. Coming in with a little bit lighter color just to mark them in. All right, keep on going here. My reference photo was heavily CGI'd, so I edited some of the original photo. So that's why some of the ones in the middle are smooth instead of having these.
Okay, so one stalk of, or spear, I guess it's called, of asparagus has 3 calories.
Nice. So we need to be eating more asparagus.
Yep, 0 fat.
We're trying to lose weight before our trip. It's not fun, but we're motivated. I want to be able to eat when I want when I get there. No.
Has a lot of potassium. I did not know that. It's interesting. Fun asparagus. Nutrition facts. Everybody was dying to know. I'm sure.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I think I feel like I'm putting too many of these on here, but maybe not. Okay.
Oops.
I think I'm making them a little bit long. That's part of it. I'm gonna get the purple and some white. This that magenta purple. I'm gonna get a little bit of the darker purple too. And go back in now and kind of add some of that on some of these. Yeah, I think they're just a little bit whiter than I'm doing. Okay, getting more white here. Get some of that green. When you add the green and the purple together, it makes that really nice neutral. That yellow green and the purple, because the yellow and the purple are opposite on the color wheel, so it makes almost like a gray color. Would be really good for these. Right, let's use them on the tips too. So, all right, at the very tip, they're pretty small, and then they just have these little, almost like stacking bricks or like painting a rose, where you go every other one around the sides, one in the middle, 2 on the sides, and then another one in the middle and 2 on the side. You know, that kind of thing. And just going to use different colors of green here. If it doesn't show up, and get some more lighter color. Okay. Maybe a little bit more of the green. Green, yellow, a little bit of white. that sienna. It just feels a little too bright. Too minty. I think, yeah, pushing from the bottom up might be a better solution. Get more of a pointed tip that way. And then they kind of just taper off into a couple of like smaller bits that then become the stem. So.
And the little node things growing up at the tips are called bracts. B-R-A-C-T.
Bracts.
Yes, yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Thanks to Nancy for that
Things
fun
I
fact.
didn't know. I wonder if I'll retain that information. I retain the weirdest facts sometimes. I'm like, why do I know that? Let's see if my brain decides that that's really relevant information that I need to keep.
Hold on to that right there. Yep.
Forever and ever.
Put that in the same box as those song lyrics from the 70s.
Right. Exactly.
What's your kid's name? I have no idea.
No. I call him my dog all the time, but I can sing.
I can sing Gloria.
I can sing Staying Alive. Easy.
Ooh.
Name that song. 3 notes.
Grabbing the magenta here and kind of making sure I add some magenta. Yeah. Probably Dancing Queen too, maybe. I don't know. I feel like it might be one of those songs where there's more lyrics than I realize that I don't know, you know. I know the chorus for sure. Listen to a lot of ABBA. Which I think they're touring again. Be a fun one to see.
All right, so go ahead and give us the Staying Alive lyrics if you're so confident there. Well, I don't know if we want to say those lyrics, actually. No.
Huh?
They're not racy, but... All right, we'll go back to Dancing Queen. Oh, shit.
I'm saying them in my head and just like wondering if I can do. Well, okay. I definitely probably would do better on Beatles lyrics because I definitely listen to a lot more Beatles.
Okay, so what's the beginning? You can dance.
You can jive.
Okay, yeah.
Having the time of our lives.
Of your life.
Of your life. See that girl.
Ooh, see that girl.
Watch that scene.
Ooh, yeah.
Dig in the Dancing Queen.
Man, good job. Dig in the Dancing Queen. I wonder what decade that was written in.
Heck yeah. That makes me think of Leanne Morgan and her Netflix special where she was like talking about herself in the 80s. You know, she was like doing the dancing thing. Yeah. If you haven't seen that and you're over, what, about 40 maybe, you'd love it. We tried to watch it with our kids and they didn't think it was as funny as we did.
Yeah.
I think it's
The daughter-in-laws were like, what?
kind of horrified.
Okay, come back in about 15 years.
Right. You'll think it's great.
You'll get it.
All right. I'm not loving what's happening here. Do you see how they're all kind of lining up the same? I kind of want a little bit more variety. So I think I'm going to bring this one up and make him go a lot higher. Oh, yeah. And I broke that up. You see how that helped with that. Okay. And I'm going to kind of tilt this one to this side so that it's curved out a different way too. And just little brush strokes. And I think up in here there's like tighter, I can do more brush strokes than I'm doing because they're really bundled up close together. So maybe I'll do a couple of these kind of coming out this way a little bit more. Okay, then back here. And I'm kind of using lighter color or darker colors, I mean, in this back area here. It's definitely looking better if I kind of do multiple brush strokes in this, smaller brush strokes in the very top part. I think having like one clean line there is not working very well. So just kind of cluster multiple brush strokes kind of overlapping each other right at the very tip of these. I think that's going to look a little bit better. Okay. Now I've got that song stuck in my head. Mark confessed to me something very shocking the other day. And he is a secret Swiftie.
I did not.
Pretty surprised.
I respect her work ethic.
Okay.
And she gives out a hat to some kid every show.
She what?
She gives a hat to some kid every show.
I think he's secretly wishing for the day that our granddaughters are old enough to take them.
What? And I need to question if it's only kids that ever get the hat or if they make exceptions. What?
I just love it. We were just talking the other day, and he was like, yeah, he's telling me all about her. It's like, are you a secret Swiftie?
I don't know how it all showed up on my TikTok feed.
Awesome.
I think I watched one.
Probably.
Yeah,
and then
well,
they were like, oh,
yeah.
he likes Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I watched one of her giving a hat to a kid.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool thing that
Oh, yeah.
she's very engaged
Oh,
with
I
the fans.
definitely
And
have a
things
lot of
like
respect
that.
for her, too, for sure.
And then, it's like, hey, yeah, here you go. You're the demographic.
I just think it's funny. I like to tease him now. To tease him about. Great.
And I may know some of the words to, what is that, Bad Romance?
What?
I may know some of the words to Bad Romance also.
Lady Gaga. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we were in. Where were we?
we're in a
I'm just
thrift
doing the
store.
same thing here, so sorry. I know I'm not talking about exactly, but this is basically all the same colors that I've already mixed, so just mixing a little bit more. Yeah, we were in a grocery store or a restaurant or something.
No, we were in the thrift store
That's right.
when it came on.
You remember the exact place, huh?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he knows the lyrics like 100% lyrics. Like he was, I was like, really? Oh my gosh. Love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of radio.
It's a good song. It's very catchy.
Yeah, there's a lot of radio to listen to when you drive.
When you drive
3 hours a day.
Oh gosh, I can imagine. Yeah, yeah, can imagine. That's great. And we met a fan on our trip, which was very funny. Very random. We went in to get socks for my son Spencer at a North Face store
Down in Mississippi.
Mississippi, right next, near our hotel. And we're checking out, and the lady was like, "You look familiar. Do I know you?" And I was like, "No, we don't live around here. Probably not." She was like, "No, you're Angela, right?" I was like, "What the heck? Yes." It's like, "Oh, I used to watch your videos." She was working full time now, so she said she couldn't watch as much anymore. But anyhow, really fun. Meet. I think that's the first time that's happened to me. It's happened to Mark's sister, and it happened to one of my friends. And yeah, so it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's just very interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to do in those times. Like, oh, hi.
Well, I mean, of all the random shops, the one person probably in that whole shopping center that knew us, we were checking out with,
exactly.
Yeah. It was like, what are the odds?
So yeah,
Very fun.
So if people are into Jane Austen, you can probably meet us there in Bath, England.
Absolutely. Heck yeah. I'm all about that.
Or I'm going to try to
We'll
see
go
if we
get
can
some high tea together.
if we can make it to a Wrexham game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if we've got anybody watching that's from Wales in that area, we definitely need, really any of the lower UK. We need itinerary ideas.
Your biggest fan is watching right now.
Who? Oh, Noah, are you watching Gigi? Hey, Noah, what you doing? We like, what the heck? Our son Nathan texted me before the show and asking. I was hoping she was going to stop by and say hi.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, not quite, like
she's
1.5. A little over 1.5, almost 18 months, something like that. Not quite. I don't know.
Yes.
Fun.
Very much.
All right, getting some white now. And I'm not painting anything really interesting to a 2-year-old, though. No, no animals or anything
Tanks.
fun tonight. She's like, I don't even know what that is. And just kind of going underneath and giving these little parts that stick out, like a little highlight across the bottom. It's not quite at the very bottom. They kind of have like a little, almost like a hinge kind of thing that's lighter where they stick out. So just kind of going through and doing that. Some of them. And again, it doesn't have to be on all of them. And my color is pretty dark green. So if I want to lighten it up and make it more yellow, I think I'll just glaze over this. So I'll use that India yellow. What were you saying, huh?
I'm just glad that her handlers decided to bring her to the show tonight.
Yes.
Get her some culture.
Right. Learned. Oh, she was very interested. I painted a mural in her bedroom, and she was all about it, watching me paint it. We've painted with her a couple times. At least once. No, a couple times. Yeah. Alright, so make sure that this is dry, but I'm going to go over this. Look at how that's brightening it up really nicely with it. Make sure yellow that you're using is transparent. This one is. This is the India yellow. It's just a really nice color. Yeah, now we're getting some green.
Ooh.
Some more yellow. Probably could have had green gold in my palette. I didn't add it because I didn't think I would need it, but I think it might have been a good one to have. And that looks a lot better. Use a little bit on the heads, but the heads are more like that kind of purpley tone. I'm just kind of brushing over, and you want to go thin enough. Glaze, all glaze is just thin transparent paint. So you're just painting a thin layer of paint over the top that is translucent, transparent, so that you can see what you've already done through. We're not trying to cover anything up. We're just tinting it, changing the tone. And because we had light enough colors in here, we can do that. If everything was really dark, it wouldn't be as obvious, the transition. And then we can also glaze with our darker colors. So I'm going to get a little bit of the burnt umber on the corner of my brush. Burnt umber and maybe a little bit of the green. And using a flat brush for this. This is the 4 flat that I used for the glazing also. And I'm just going to push it back and forth in the same spot, back and forth. And you can see what's happening on my palette there. It's starting to kind of create that ombre from the darkest along the corner to no color on this corner. And that's called floating, and it really is helpful to use when you're glazing, because then I can control where it's going a little bit easier. So maybe this one has a little bit of a shadow right here. Go over some of this. If any of these need like more rounding out, you can use it on that. I might bring this out just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I'm liking that pretty well. I might go a little bit lighter on some of the highlights, but we'll let that dry on that portion. And let's go ahead and add a little bit of this purple. It's dry now, so I'm going to mix up some more of the purple. Do you see how bright that purple is without adding that burnt sienna? It's just like, whoa, really bright. And so if we add a little bit of that burnt sienna, it just takes it down to a more neutral, natural color. Because what it does is when it mixes with the ultramarine blue, it turns gray. And then we're basically adding gray to the magenta. And, you know, if you add more blue, then it's more purple. And the more, and we can even add burnt umber if we want it darker, but I think that looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of use this to sort of glaze over some of these here at the top. And kind of use it sparingly because I don't want it to lose its impact. So if I use it everywhere, then it's just kind of doesn't seem as purposeful. So I'm just going to dab it over the heads of those. Especially the ones kind of toward the bottom or anywhere where I want to maybe overlap them. It's looking pretty good. Then we can also add some to these. These little things here, just some of them. And I'm kind of deliberately leaving them sort of fuzzy and vague in parts, so I don't have to define all of it. And I feel like it looks a little bit better sometimes if you don't. Like, I really left a lot of it undefined on this one. If you look at the, some of these marks are just very, very small little indications. It's not super detailed. I'm way more detailed on this one, which is fine. I'm just saying, you don't have to go this far even with it. You can leave it a little bit more random if you want. I'm gonna clean this up because this head is turning here, but the neck is not. So I'm gonna kind of narrow it right there a little bit. Take off that little bit of it. And maybe do the same on some of these. Just kind of refine the shapes a little bit. Okay. Okay, get some white, some of my green, and some of my yellow. A lot of my yellow. Ooh, a little thicker than I wanted. And I think I need a different brush. So this is where the stiffer bristle brush comes in handy, because this one, the 6100 series, will put the paint up a little more smoothly. Like it flows a little bit better off the brush. Whereas these ones are a little bit more textured. So you're not going to get as smooth of an application because they have more texture to the bristles. But that's what I need for the dry brushing portion of this tutorial here. So I'm going to use that. And let's push that paint around a little bit. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're already an hour. See? These come together really quick. Bring it out on this side a little bit. Getting some white. So that was the green, the mostly India yellow and a little bit of green and white, but this is just the white, a little bit brighter white with it. And I'm just going to kind of come in here and catch the corner of some of these to make them stand out a little bit.
So we're exchanging our different asparagus recipes right now.
Your different what recipes?
Asparagus recipes.
Nice.
Jet.
What's the key to keeping them from getting bitter? Because sometimes they're bitter and sometimes they're not. I never
That's a good question.
really know what I've done wrong. And maybe just the asparagus age or something, you know. I wonder if it's the way they're... Because I think I cooked them the same way a couple of times, and once that was amazing, and then the other time that I did it, it was just like, no, not good. It's kind of like Brussels sprouts. There's like a little bit more finesse to how you cook them to get them to come out right.
So according to the Google AI, it could be because of the variety,
Okay.
the age,
Ah, yeah.
and the cooking method.
That's what I was thinking. I think it was the age because...
Roasting, deep frying, sautéing, or charring asparagus can change its flavor, making it less bitter.
Okay. We could try the air fryer. See what it does. Just got an air fryer. I want to try everything. We're like a couple of years behind that trend. We're not early adopters. That's what I've learned. We got our Instapot.
And
late
I'll go on record that I'm not a big supporter of it right now.
You don't love it.
Well, I mean,
It's okay.
in the words of Elton Brown, it's kind of a unitasker.
Ah. Okay.
So we've roasted potatoes in it once.
Right.
I think it took us twice as long as it would have if we just put it in the
Put
oven.
in the oven.
But
Probably.
we'll see. It may or may not wind up on the top shelf with the Instapot.
Well, we didn't buy a super expensive one. It was on sale, so it was worth a shot.
Yep.
You might go the way of the bread machine, is what you're saying?
There are times I miss the bread machine, that's for sure.
I do too. That is definitely not on our diet, though.
No, and we got a lot of bread. I noticed that this morning.
Because nobody's been eating it. I won't buy any more. Once it's gone, it's gone. Okay. Alright, so we're almost there. You can see we're, adding little highlights kind of toward the middle of these to kind of pull that part forward. And then here I think I want a transition piece of one of these that's kind of bigger. Sort of where the okay. And then once we're pretty satisfied with how everything looks, then we can do our tie on here. I don't want to do it before that because you don't have to move anything, paint around it or anything. So I'm going to get burnt umber, a little bit of black. And figure out where I want these to go. I think I'll do them right in the middle here. And kind of just paint in back and forth my little ties. And I've switched to the number 2 round where I think I've been using that for a bit. Go outside the edge because that tie has to wrap around, so there'll be a little bit of a width that peeks through. That looks pretty good, I think. I'm kind of curving it upward just slightly. You can see I'm not going straight across. Just so it has a little bit of a curve there. And did I do a tie? Yeah, I think I'm going to do the knot this way, where it's just kind of coming down knotted and not like a bow tie. So just going to pick a spot and sort of bring it down. Maybe this one comes out this way. I'm both pointing to the little spot there. Okay. Maybe bring it down a little bit farther. Right. Again, though, white and the unbleached titanium with that burnt umber. More of the unbleached titanium and some of that yellow. There we go. Kind of a yellowish color. Maybe yellow oxide would have been a good color to have on here. I'll go add some burnt sienna to warm it up. There we go. That's a little bit better. That's kind of our rope color. Get a little bit of white. And I like to have like both, like a white side and a darker side when I do it, so I can kind of do it all in one go. So kind of double load your brush where you got some white on one side and kind of the darker beige on the other. And just kind of dab along that edge, kind of at an angle. I need to do a little bit darker. Where it goes off the edge, I'm going to use a darker color there, or we can glaze that the corners. Dabbing. This one go in this direction, so that kind of changes the direction. Depending on how it's wrapped. Okay. Let's create our little knot here. Kind of made this side a little wide. I don't know why I made it that wide. Let me see if I can get that off. Let's try this again. I feel like this brush is a little too big. Let me get the smaller one, the number 1. Can get a little bit more control over where it's going. Get that burnt sienna and yellow with my white. And see how like that's all pretty light, so I need to probably darken that up a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, I needed the smaller one. Use the smaller brush. This looks much better. Much better. Getting some of the unbleached titanium, or burnt umber. I don't know why I was saying that. Burnt umber. And I'm going to go back in here and darken that up again because that got a little too wet, too light. Just dabbing over this, and you know, just keep messing with it until it looks good to you, but just kind of keep an eye on that dark and light because it's easy to go too far one way or another. Especially, I think the tendency is to go too light and lose all your dark bits. So as we're doing this, just make sure we're leaving plenty of that dark showing. Okay, that's a little bit better. That's starting to look like twine. And I'm going to bring it out a little farther because it's not quite feeling like it's wrapping around there. Okay. I think we're about there. Like that. So see how this light area and that are kind of butting up against each other? It's creating a weird kind of dynamic right there. So I'm going to just get a little bit of my dark green and some glaze, burnt umber and phthalo green for this. You could use sap green too. You know, that's kind of a pre-mixed dark green. If you don't like mixing your own colors, definitely just buy some of the kind of convenience colors that are pre-mixed. There's a ton of them. And I'm also going to come up underneath that rope and shadow with some of this glaze so that it makes sense. And I'm just going to pretend that that's a shadow right there, that dark bit. Let's see, that will help sell that as a overlapping there. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit at the top too. Just blend that out where it's touching. And I can even put a little bit of dark on the corners here to darken up, so we get like a little bit of burnt umber. And some glaze, and just glaze over this. Now make sure your first layers are dry before you do this, but just where they kind of pop over the edge, and then anywhere where, you know, if you need another little shadow, it helps. Get a little bit more of the light color and just kind of excuse me. Let's zoom out and see what we have here. There we go. Not bad. For an hour and 20 minutes. Definitely, these come together a lot faster than you think. And I think the darker background is the key to the coming together faster. If you're doing it on lighter background, it may take a little bit more finessing. Just because this one already, you know, those dry brushes had that dark color underneath. So you may have to paint all of your asparagus with a really dark green on the white and then build it back up to get that fuzzy, you know, dry brushed effect on there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of wonder if I should do the bow now. What do you think? Bow or no bow? What's chat think? Because I think we could do...
Chat's too busy talking about bread.
Oh, okay.
Making my mouth water.
Oh, no.
Oh, here. Just... It's up to you.
It's up to me. Okay.
We got one bow, one no bow, two no bows, three no bows.
No bow, no bow, no bow. Okay.
4-2 again.
Right, so the no bows win. Sorry, guys.
Vote early, vote often.
Democracy at its finest.
The polls are closed. Thank you for participating.
All right, I think I'm pretty happy with that, I think. So I think we'll do carrots next. That was the other one that I had in this long thing. And then, but let me know in the comments if you want to see more of these, if you enjoyed this. I really, I'm trying to break away from just doing flowers all the time. I love painting flowers. I want to paint flowers 24/7, but, we have hundreds of flower tutorials. Just trying something new. So
How about Twizzlers?
hopefully you guys will come along the ride with us.
No?
Twizzlers?
Yeah. Do a Tide.
Oh, paint Twizzlers.
Bunch of Twizzlers.
Oh man, I'd be so hungry if I painted Twizzlers.
We would have to have some here.
We would
just
have
as
to have
reference.
Twizzlers. We would have to. This is gonna have to be after our diet because this is not gonna happen. Yay!
Super chat.
Yay! Very sweet.
Let's see. Is it working?
No, I'm not seeing it.
Oh, yeah. So it's from Laura.
Oh,
No
Laura?
special message, but thank you so much,
you,
Laura,
Laura.
for the wonderful donation.
Super sweet.
Yes.
I watched I'm going to start. This is a announcement, pre-announcement announcement, because we're not like there yet, but we're going to start streaming on Twitch.
Ooh.
And it'll be kind of a different format type of show. So, but I went and visited Art in Jest is the name. Oh, I'm writing my name twice. My first name twice. Art in Jest. Brenda. Her show is bananas. I mean, in the best way. Bananas. And just sweetest people. And I happened to be on Twitch just trying to find out what my password was to give it to Brennan. Literally, that's all I was doing. And I ended up spending like 3 hours on there because I caught her live stream, and she's a friend of mine from Patreon. We've done collaborated in some groups and things. We're both ambassadors for Patreon, and they have a monthly meetup. And anyhow, long story, we've been friends for a while on there, and so I went and just visited her show and was just like, hey. And she was like, she got all of her followers that were watching there that day to go and follow me on Twitch. And she's been trying to talk me into coming. So anyhow, I think it'll be fun. It'll be a different kind of, just branching out, trying to meet up with some youngins,
Right. But we're not leaving here.
Oh, we're not leaving
This
here.
is not changing.
No.
We're staying
This
YouTube. We're keeping our schedule.
This is just
Some extra.
trying to reach a different audience, that we've already kind of found our core audience on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And we love you guys. But we're not
Incredibly.
finding that we're reaching younger audiences here for whatever reason. And so we're wondering, and there's kind of like a budding art community on Twitch that is untapped potential, I think, it's kind of, so I think that it'll be interesting to try.
So somebody has requested a tutorial on how to use Twitch.
I like it.
So I think we will have to do that.
I need one.
as we try to figure it out.
I need it. I was trying to figure it out. I kept losing the chat and not knowing how to get back to it.
And
like
also,
literally the whole time. So yeah, no, I need that too. We'll all be learning together.
and I want to learn more about Discord.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's another way.
Yeah.
But anyways,
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Laura who donated.
for donation, yeah.
Yes, super, super appreciate that. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. We'll be back. I have not put out my June schedule yet, so we'll be working on that. I think we're painting wildflowers next week. I think that was I'm ready for some flowers. I think we're going to do some really fun wildflowers next week, or at least one of the weeks in June. And again, if you follow my socials, I'll be posting that schedule this week sometime, probably tomorrow. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.